y'all thought process.
Wait. So to say majority of women means that there's a minority of women as well. So if there's a minority of women,
then it can't be
Oh,
honest.
that's how you are, huh? You're into the logistics. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You're into the semantics.
I like to listen to every word. Just like when you're reading the Bible, I like to really read every word, right? I don't like to just skip over things. So when you say the majority of women are like that based off your experience, what can you say about the minority of the women that you've experienced? Can you put them in the same category as the majority?
There's some women who can seem like they have some bit of accountability, and they're a minority. But even if you talk to those women who seem accountable, right? Like you think they got it, but they really don't.
Okay.
In the sense that we thought they did, like, oh, you get it, and you're like, oh, you really don't once you get to why she made that decision. You know what I mean? Because the decision is one we favor it, you know. But even though we favor that decision, the reasoning is not the same. That we will find that like, oh, that makes sense.
I
have a point to make on. I'm about to. I was gonna say. I want to make sure that we remember. I want to come back to the emotional part.
Yeah,
but I wanted
Dwayne's gonna definitely hit on this particular point. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Man, I just look at it from the accountability piece. Like, we are made in the image of God, man and woman, and not only that, like what you were saying, you're like, like being born again. That born again piece happens for both men and women, and the born again piece of it is an about face. Like, you have repented of your ways, now you're going the other way. So there's one way, and then there's another way. So from a biblical perspective, it's like Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And then nobody gets to the Father but through him. And then whenever you accept that, now you're accepting something that then will transcend who you are. Now, the person that you used to be is not the person that you are, and going forward, you're going to be able to change. And in it, it's like, be ye perfect, in that you're pursuing perfection. So the contrast from a Christian who accepts Christ, and their desire is to fulfill God's commandments. They have a desire. Now they are on a mission to do something rather than of a particular standards, like the fruits of the spirit now versus the fruits of the flesh. So for me, there is a separation. There's a separation from people who actually actively try. There's a difference between trying and failing and not trying at all. So for those people who actually try and they do succeed, glory to them. Actually, no, not glory to them, glory to God. But if we then are truthful to ourselves and we look at the Bible, only perfect person in the Bible was Jesus. Every last one of them were sinners. If you look at the heroes of the Bible, sinners. David, hero of the Bible, sinner. So from my perspective, it's much higher of a virtue the Bible brings and places on our hearts rather than the earthly virtue. People are talking about climate change and what they can do to stop this invisible thing rather than how they can change their heart, the closest thing to them. They are willing to accept that virtue than the virtue of actually loving God and then loving people. So from my perspective, there is a delineation and there is a difference between people that try to live righteous and moral lives versus people who don't care. They don't care about you. And the staple of it is selfishness. The staple of it is selfishness. You can see the people that give and you can then see the people that take.
Yeah, I was actually about to. Shane, it's funny you said that because that was the point that I was going to bring about. Was that when you say men don't have emotions, and I agree. Who was that in the comments? I think Kai said it. So, and when I immediately thought about that, I thought about Cain and Abel. He killed his brother because he was angry at what God gave him. You think about Joseph. The brothers were jealous, an emotion, and so they do what they did to him. You think about a lot of people, Saul going after. Help me, y'all. Who was he trying to kill? David. Mm-hmm. David. He was going after him because he was getting more attention than him. He was angry. So I think men are taught to push down their emotions as if they don't have it. But men react off their emotions all the time. Like, it don't look like women look, but even if you deal with the man who's been hurt by a woman before, he moves differently because of that. He treats you differently because of that. Now, women get that rap all the time. Oh, you've been hurt in your past, and so now you're projecting. Yeah, men project all the time, also. And so, just because you're taught, and again, like Shan said, we're not dealing with our trauma, and so you're not self-aware enough to know that it's there. And we all have our things, so that's okay. But to say that men are emotionless and we're robots, and then women are like always crying, like, I think that's a load of crap. And I think that people know that, but they choose not to sit in it, because then that means that they have to change. And that's what accountability is. You see right now, I was even talking about this the other day, that there are more men in the church wanting accountability, but other men aren't trying to help them be accountable. And so it's like women, I feel like, do, in some sense, do a good job of trying to keep each other accountable. We like going to groups together. Come
we
on,
will tell
y'all.
our friends about themselves in a quick
y'all.
hot minute.
Come on, y'all. Y'all, men want to sit and cheer on each other. Nah.
No, ma'am. I know, ma'am.
Nah.
Okay.
If it even happens,
Hold on.
if you guys can even get together to be accountable,
it has to be.
I've been in plenty of circles.
Okay, watch this. Okay, let me.
Sure,
okay.
my circles that I've been in for
that's
a long
awesome.
time.
But the majority of circles that I've been in, as a teacher, has been on these panels, as interacting with family members, women do not hold each other accountable. I don't even know why you may hold some of your peers accountable, but the reason why we are where we are is, in some regard, is because women do not hold other women accountable. Do you know that?
Let's start with the mothers.
I haven't even finished yet. Check this out. The situation that you even went to bat for Carly Russell, saying that it was too soon, when she should be. That should be you. It should not be too soon. She did something that was wrong.
Why would she should be?
So what I'm saying, you didn't even hold her accountable. You was like, it's too soon.
No, I'm saying it's for you to talk about. You're not in her circle, so what am I holding her? What is some random person holding her accountable for?
I'm not a random person.
That's the people.
I'm not a random person. I'm not
to her.
It doesn't matter.
Carly?
Once you do something that's public, it's no longer a random person. You have allowed yourself to be exposed to the public. No different than people that don't know me on the internet. People don't know me on the internet, but they get to view me through when I'm talking here, right? So what it is that they see, I can understand why they would get their perspective of me once they see me in person. So we cannot.
So you're taking into account everything that everybody says to change your life.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Okay. I'm gonna go back to what I said. Even now, you're still saying you're not even holding her accountable in the conversation we're having. You're still saying, well, you're not in her circle, so you can't say. That's what you're saying. That's mean that you can't hold another woman accountable. But you're trying to hold me accountable right now when the words that I'm saying.
Okay, because I know you. But
you don't have to know me to hold me accountable, is what I'm saying.
We
you don't have to know me to hold me accountable. If you hear me say something wrong, or something that is that's not right according to your particular philosophy, you have all the authority to say that because of what the amendment says. There's a freedom of speech.
Sure, right? People can say whatever they want.
When does the mind your business come into play? When it comes to somebody
when you do it like Jamie Foxx, when he had it in private. When you make it a public thing, it is no longer mind your business. You have allowed yourself to be able to be talked about because you have made it public. And so
talked about is different than being held accountable. So you're saying you're saying LeBron James, let's say LeBron James, he has millions of people commenting on his post all the time. You're telling me that he's supposed to read through all of it because he's a public person, read through all that and say, hold on, listen, because that's what you are saying. You're saying that if you're public, anybody is able to speak and hold you accountable for something. Sure, they can speak, but to hold me accountable to change, that's not for everybody. That's for the select few people that are around me. I'm listening to you and not a random person who doesn't even really know me. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, it makes perfect sense. You know what I'm saying? Like the okay, we want to go back to the Bible. Who did you know in the Bible?
Nobody.